Chapter 1246. In the Great Accomplishment Mountain, a battered and exhausted figure fell into the Great Accomplishment Palace. It was the injured Ninth Serenity Demon King. Wah! As soon as he landed, he spat out a mouthful of stinking demonic blood. The Holy King's faces turned pale with fright. None of them expected that an old monster would be injured. Zhou Xian squinted his eyes and asked, "Senior Ninth Serenity, what happened to you?" "Annihilated. Annihilated. What annihilated?" "The Nightmare Army was annihilated." The Ninth Serenity Demon King trembled slightly as he said, "Lin Muyu. Martial God Lin Muyu is back with peerless power." "What, Lin Muyu is back?" Zhou Xian looked at him proudly. "Senior, look at me while talking. What happened? Didn't you go to intercept Xian, Eva and the others?" "Yes, but Lin Muyu suddenly appeared, killed my vanguards and defeated me." The Ninth Serenity Demon King did not hide anything and said, "Lin Muyu is too strong. He defeated me in 3 moves. He is too strong." 3 moves? Sage Ruler White Wind couldn't help but suck in a cold breath. How is this possible? Demon King, you are even stronger than a first-class superior god. Even Xian may not be your match, right? "I don't know." The Netherworld Demon Monarch shook his head like he was crazy. "I don't know why, but he's really too strong. I'm not his opponent. Lin Muyu, he's grasped the power of a heaven domain, an undefeatable power." Enough. Zhou Xian's eyes were cold as he said, "Fire Jade Sage Monarch, Dragon Sparrow Sage Monarch. The 2 of you will support the demonic monarch to recuperate and rest. Senior, you should rest well. No matter how strong Lin Muyu is, can he win against my god-destroying pagoda?" The Netherworld Demonic King was helped down by 2 Holy King. The Holy King Baifeng said, "Your Majesty, since even the 9 Underworlds Demon King was defeated, it proves that Lin Muyu's cultivation is indeed not to be underestimated. We must be careful. You must be very happy that Lin Muyu has returned in such a powerful state, right? This is the balance you want." Zhou Xian sneered. Holy King Baifeng looked helpless. "Your Majesty, I didn't mean that." Stop it." Zhou Xian took a deep breath. "No matter how strong Lin Muyu is, I will use the perfect God-exterminating pagoda to destroy him. No matter how strong he is, he will die under the God-exterminating pagoda. Don't worry." "Your Majesty, are you planning to use the God-exterminating tower to kill him? Long distance?" Zhou Xian sneered. "I'm not that stupid. I can't even kill the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor Tang Xiaoxi and Qin Yin from a long distance, not to mention the stronger Lin Muyu. Even if I want to attack, I will definitely attack from a distance. He won't even have the chance to dodge or resist." At this moment, a group of demon generals walked in. They were the leaders who were out patrolling. "Did you find anything?" Zhou Xian looked at them coldly. "No, Your Majesty. A bunch of trash." The group of demon generals' faces turned ugly. One of them walked forward and knelt down. "Your Majesty, I have a small discovery." "Speak." "Yesterday, when I was patrolling at the border of the eastern and northern celestial realms, I suddenly felt a trace of demon god's aura. However, it was only for a moment. After that, I couldn't feel it anymore." "Demon god's aura? What do you mean?" Zhou Xian's eyes turned cold. "Your Majesty, you should also know that all the demon gods who ascended from the mortal realm have already gone to the Fecta Temple to register. Only one person did not go, and that is the demon god who ascended from the celestial pole continent, Nuslik. This woman has never been to the demon realm after she obtained her demon body. I have checked and found out that I was the only demon realm force that was patrolling that area yesterday. Therefore I determined that Nuslik must be there. Since she is there, the gods of the eastern celestial realm might be hiding there. Where exactly is it?" "Not Haishan." "Ha ha ha." Zhou Xian couldn't help but laugh. 7 luminaries Demon Emperor Xiao, you cowards have been hiding for so long. It's time for you to come out and take a breather. Someone summon the illusory pool." "Yes, Your Majesty." The stone floor in the center of the hall slowly dispersed, revealing the misty illusory pool below. Zhou Xian waved his hand and the mist above the illusory pool dispersed, revealing the scene of the not Haishan area that he wanted to see. However, it was a dense jungle and there was nothing worth being happy about. The group of Holy King and demon generals were silent, but there was disappointment on their faces. However, Zhou Xian wasn't the same. He sneered. The god-destroying pagoda in his hand suddenly spun rapidly. Layers of the pagoda rotated continuously, bringing with it the power of crimson demon flames. Suddenly, a strong beam of light shot into the distance. Not long after, a beam of light shot down from the sky in the image in the illusory pool. Immediately, the illusion of the jungle began to change. In the blink of an eye, the dense jungle became open land and a blurry figure appeared. Found it. Zhou Xian quickly retracted the energy of the god-destroying pagoda and smiled. Finally found it. Send the order immediately. Gather the army of the demon realm and head to the Not Haitian area tomorrow morning to exterminate the remnants of the eastern celestial realm. Yes. At dawn there was silence in the light temple. Xian was still selecting the list. Rustle. Amidst the footsteps, Eva walked in and sat on the windowsill. She said, "You is gone. He really can't wait until dawn." Xian smiled faintly. "But this is also expected. He doesn't want to wait too long." "Yes, you doesn't want to wait too long." Eva said, "Actually it's really thanks to this kid. Otherwise I'm afraid we can't sit here and talk now." "We passed the mental cultivation method of AO sword tactics to you?" "Yes, but I don't have time to practice now." "You are now the ruler of the Western Heaven realm. Naturally you don't have time to practice. Teach me, I will practice. Bah, in your dreams. Wait until I master it." Is there any news from the demon realm?" "I don't know. Our telekinesis channels are all blocked. We can't see what's happening in the distance." "Don't worry so much." Xian glanced at the list next to her and said, "You help me select the last few names on the list and then start summoning them to the light temple. As long as these more than 100 angels regain the power of blessing, our Western divine realm can form a dominant force that can't be ignored. Even if we encounter the main force of the demon realm, we will have the power to fight." Eva picked up the list, glanced at it and said, "You really don't plan to practice the AO sword tactics?" "No, I've been creating the 8th slash of Xian recently." "The 8th slash?" Eva stuck out her tongue. "Looks so powerful. How powerful is it? What's its name?" "In terms of power, although it is not as overbearing as the AO sword tactics, it is not much inferior. As for the name, I haven't thought of it yet." Xian glanced at Yuhua and said with a smile, "How about calling it Chop His Father's Mashed Pieces?" Eva was speechless. "As long as you're happy. Did you leave out Yuan Chue's family in this list? They have a few great perfection deities in their family. They can join us." "Yeah, I really forgot. You can add them." On a spiritual mountain less than 15 kilometers away from the Hall of Great Accomplishment, dark clouds gathered in the sky. Groups of winged Mara flew past as if they were gathering. In the clouds there was one person who was silent. It was Lin Mu. His aura had almost been reduced to 0, so those winged Mara obviously could not sense him. However, this did not mean that the winged Mara could not discover him. There was a boom from the side, and one of the winged Mara directly crashed into Lin Muyu's arms. He snorted, hugged the winged Mara and twisted his neck. However, a group of winged Mara around him hurriedly flapped their wings and besieged him. There were about 20 of them. Lin Muyu acted quickly. The AO sword tactics was suddenly activated, and a group of Mara was turned into minced meat in an instant. Then he concealed his aura and hid in the clouds again. In the distance, groups of Mara were galloping in the direction of Mount Deshang. "What's going on?" He frowned and said to himself, "Did Zhou Xian discover the whereabouts of Shao Yin and the others? He must be right. If he did not discover the whereabouts of the eastern deities, Zhou Xian would not have mobilized so many people." However, Lin Muyu could not sense where Qin Yin and the others were. What should he do? He only thought for 3 seconds and came up with a plan. Then he could only blend into the circle of Mara and attack together with Zhou Xian. Once he found Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi, he would immediately counterattack. Staring into the distance, he began to look for the target. After nearly 10 minutes, the target finally appeared. It was a demon general riding a dragon tiger and holding a big hammer in his hand. He looked very powerful. His body was covered by a cloak and even his face could not be seen clearly. However, it was obvious that he was a big guy with a fierce face, thick eyebrows and big eyes. He was lost, so he urged the dragon tiger to rush into the clouds. Pitter-patter. After a round of beating, the body of the demon general was thrown down the clouds, and Lin Muyu took his place. She put on the bulky armor and cloak, carried the thick and heavy warhammer and mounted the dragon tiger. The dragon tiger was covered with dragon armor and mixed fur, and its head was a fierce tiger. With a roar, it turned around and bit Lin Muyu's arm. How could she do that? Bang! With a light punch, the head of the dragon tiger was smashed into pieces. See, it's so weak? Lin Muyu was stunned. She quickly raised her hand and shouted, "Come out, Acatosaurus!" Roar, roar. The Acatosaurus came out from the alternate dimension, and it looked even more majestic. Its head was very ferocious, and it had the aura of a dragon king. It rubbed its arms against Lin Muyu. "Can you transform?" Lin Muyu carried the dragon tiger's corpse and said, "Can I turn into this?" The Acatosaurus did not say a word. It went forward and bit off the head of the dragon tiger, chewed it and let out a cry. Its body began to transform, and in the blink of an eye, it turned into a dragon tiger. "I knew it." Lin Muyu stepped on the dragon tiger's corpse and threw it away. The perfect form of the dragon race was that they could transform into anything, even humans. However, looking at the appearance of the Acatosaurus, it seemed like it could transform into anything it ate. Lin Muyu could not help but sigh, and the image of the Acatosaurus turning into a pile of shit appeared in her mind. Chapter 1247. Gather and prepare to attack. The horn of the demon realm sounded on Mount Deshang. In the distance, Ziyan held the god of destruction in his hand and led the injured demon king of 9 serenities and a group of holy king-level leaders of the demon realm to inspect the 3 armies. Countless Mara were hovering in the air. Ziyan's voice was very loud and clear. He said, "We have found the whereabouts of the remnants of the Eastern Divine Realm. Attack with me and annihilate them completely. Long live the Emperor! Long live the Emperor!" A group of demon generals raised their weapons and roared fanatically. Among them, the demon general that Lin Muyu incarnated also raised his warhammer, but he didn't say, "Long live the Emperor." He just joined in the commotion. At the same time, he had to take care of the dragon and tiger transformed by Acatosaurus to prevent it from eating the mounts of other demon generals in one bite. The dark clouds rolled away. Ziyan, 9 serenities, Bai Feng, and others had already flown away from Mount Deshang, followed by the dense Mara army. Lin Muyu didn't fall behind. She urged Acatosaurus to follow closely behind Ziyan and others. At the closest, it was less than 100 meters away from Ziyan. Tens of millions of demon army were moving in the sky like a huge black hole. It was very scary, and Lin Muyu was just a small part of it. "Howl!" Acatosaurus roared, almost attracting the attention of the demon generals. Lin Muyu hurriedly restrained it. At the same time, she frowned. If she took action at this time, she could prevent Ziyan from finding Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi and others. But it also meant that Lin Muyu had to fight 1 against 10 million. This was not a joke. Even if she had mastered the AO sword tactics and the power of holy martial arts, she couldn't be so arrogant. After all, the god-destroying tower could not be underestimated, and the divine power would eventually be exhausted. But if she found the gods of the Eastern Divine Realm and used the power of holy martial arts to bless the 7 luminaries demon emperor, Xiao, Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi and others, it would be completely different. At that time, no matter how many troops Mara had, there was nothing to fear. So Lin Muyu had been holding back, quietly driving Acatosaurus to fly to the depths of the divine realm with Ziyan, the demon monarch of 9 serenities and others. In the sky, layers of clouds were constantly intertwining. Ziyan and others flew farther and farther away. They were thousands of meters away, but a few holy king infiltrated the crowd of Mara's army as if to inspect them. Not far away, the slim female holy king was Bai Feng. Although Lin Muyu didn't know Bai Feng, she always felt that there was something special about this holy king. As for how special it was probably because she was very beautiful. Bai Feng's eyes swept over more than 100 demon generals beside Lin Muyu, and finally flew to Lin Muyu's side. She gently touched the head of Acatosaurus with her palm. Howl! Acatosaurus bared its fangs. Lin Muyu hurriedly covered its back with her palm, ordering it not to act rashly. Otherwise, if more than 100 demon generals attacked together, it would be very troublesome. This dragon tiger doesn't seem to be completely tamed, right? Bai Feng's bright eyes looked at Lin Muyu and flew forward with her. Lin Muyu thought for a moment and said, "Yes, but it's almost done, Your Excellency Holy King." Your voice. Bai Feng was a little hesitant and said, "Your voice isn't as rough and hoarse as those demon generals. You're also very special and your figure is far less sturdy than those of other demon generals." Lin Muyu said, "When Ancestor Emperor Ziyan was also a demon general, his figure was similar to mine." That's true. Bai Feng flew forward with great interest and sat on the dragon's back beside Lin Muyu and asked, "Can I give you a ride?" "As long as your excellency Holy King is willing." Lin Muyu was very perturbed. She always felt that Holy King Bai Feng had noticed something but she was not sure. With Bai Feng's strength, once he noticed something wrong he should immediately take action. Turning around, Bai Feng's feet were bathed in the clouds, and he seemed to be very leisurely. "Bai Feng, Holy King." Lin Muyu wanted to say something but stopped. She wanted to ask if he had seen through her. But Bai Feng smiled faintly and said, "There's no need to ask. There's no problem with your weapon, mount and attire. There are tens of thousands of demon generals in the demon realm, and there are even octagonal ones, not to mention yours. But your only flaw is that you actually chatted with me. You don't know how much fear the demon generals have for the Holy King, let alone me, the Holy King." Unknowingly, Lin Muyu had already silently activated the AO sword tactics, and her clothes slowly began to flutter. "Don't make a move." Bai Feng said calmly, "Once you make a move you will really be exposed. I only want to ask you one question." "Go ahead." Lin Muyu was a little helpless. Her strength was far above her, but now it seemed that she was being controlled by her. Bai Feng smiled and said, "Are you the person who injured the 9 Nether Demon King?" "Yes." "Then what do you want to do by sneaking into the Demon Realm army this time?" "Defeat you all." Lin Muyu did not hide and said, "And also to revitalize the Eastern Divine Realm." "Then I wish you success." Bai Feng moved his butt away from the dragon's back and floated in the air. He said, "Don't be seen through early and don't be killed early. The God-destroying tower is very powerful now, perhaps beyond your imagination. You must be careful when dealing with it. I'm leaving." With that, Bai Feng turned and flew away. Lin Muyu frowned and did not know what to say. The hundreds of demon generals at the side also came closer. All of them were very silent and did not say anything, as if everything was natural. Perhaps to them, it was none of their business that Bai Feng, the Holy King, and this demon general talked so much. As the saying went, if it was none of their business, it was their way of doing things. In the Buhai Mountain, the people of the Eastern Divine Realm in the dense forest did not know that danger was approaching. It was not until the Demon Realm army was within 1,000 miles that they realized it, and the first person to realize it was Chu Yao. She woke up from her dream and found Ziyao and Qin Yin. Sister Chu Yao's prophecy is definitely not wrong. Qin Yin stood in the field filled with fragrant grass and said with certainty, "We should have been prepared." The 7 luminaries demon emperor took a deep breath and said, "Actually, I also have a bad feeling. It seems that the demon realm has found us. I said that the beam of light yesterday was a bit strange, and now it seems that it is indeed the demon realm's way of investigating us. Don't say anything else, order everyone to be on guard and prepare for battle. We can't escape, so we can only fight to the death with them." Xiao frowned and said, "With our current strength we have no chance of winning. What should we do?" "We have to fight even if we don't have a chance of winning. Now we can only hope that Shi Yan will receive the news and come to help." "Let's hope so." Dozens of meters away, Feng Jixing and Wei Chou walked over with their weapons in hand. They were even wearing the armor of the Great Qin Empire. They didn't have the time to change into anything else. The Eastern God world was so poor and dejected that they didn't have any armor for them to change into. They could only make do with it. "Another battle?" Feng Jixing asked. Tang Xiaoxi nodded and said, "The demon realm has found us. These demon realm people really don't know when to give up." Feng Jixing gritted his teeth and pressed his hand on the hilt of his sword and said, "Demon Emperor, do you have a plan for how we fight? If we stubbornly defend here, we will be bombarded by them from above. I'm afraid we won't be able to resist at all." The 7 luminaries demon emperor asked, "Wind God, what plan do you have?" "Here, over there." Feng Jixing pointed into the distance. There was a lone peak that was about 2,000 meters tall. He said, "We can hide our main force on that mountain and use a small portion of the gods as bait. This way, when the demon world's army attacks the mountain, the main force on the mountain can launch an attack from a high vantage point. This way we won't lose the terrain advantage." "Okay, let's do that." The seven luminaries demon emperor knew that Feng Jixing had been fighting wars since he was immortal, and although he was the demon emperor, he was only good at one-on-one battles. At this time the enemy was strong and he was weak, so it was better to use more tricks. After the time it took for a stick of incense to burn, the quiet Buhai mountains and plains calmed down again. The seven luminaries demon emperor, Xiao and Chu Chu led some useless gods to stay in the jungle, while Feng Jixing, Wei Chou, Qin Yin and other righteous gods who mainly attacked hid on the solitary peak, waiting for a counterattack from above. We're almost there. The seven luminaries demon emperor took a deep breath and looked at the sky calmly. He knew that this would be a fierce battle, but as long as they could deal with the god-destroying tower, there was still hope for the eastern celestial world. There were a limited number of powerful people in the demon realm, which were Ziyan, Abyss Demon Monarch and Juju Holy Emperor. As for Bai Feng and the others, they were not worth mentioning. They're here. Sun Feng held his long sword, his face a little pale. The sky that was originally surrounded by auspicious clouds was covered by purple clouds in the blink of an eye. The clouds rolled over and the clouds were filled with shrill cries. It was Mara's army. Above the clouds, Ziyan, Abyss Demon Monarch and other leaders of the demon realm stepped on the air. Looking at the people on the ground, Ziyan laughed and said sternly, "Seven luminaries demon emperor, you have nowhere to run this time, right?" The seven luminaries demon emperor held Panga's axe and raised his head proudly. "I, your father, have no intention of running away. Come on, I can't hold back my killing intent anymore." Although he said this, Xiao's eyes were filled with worry. The seven luminaries demon emperor's pride had not fully recovered. It had only recovered to about 70%, but the power of the god-destroying tower was almost perfect. This time, if the seven luminaries demon emperor used his pride to resist the power of the god-destroying tower, he might not be able to escape death. "All right, I'll do as you wish." The corners of Ziyan's mouth curled up into a sinister smile. "Brats from the demon world, charge. Kill them all. Nine Nether Senior, attack with me, all right?" Nine Nether's injuries had not fully recovered, but he could only smile bitterly and nod. "Yes, your majesty." However, just as the demon realm army was about to fight, a whang sound was heard. A pitch-black object smashed from behind and directly hit the back of Ziyan's head. Dang! It was a warhammer and it bounced off Ziyan's head. However, Ziyan's face had already turned green. He suddenly turned around and roared, "Which bastard can't control himself? Traitor, come out and accept your death." In the neat formation of demon generals, the young man riding on Dragon Tiger slowly urged Dragon Tiger to fly forward. He raised his head and lifted his cloak, revealing a handsome and unruly face. He had a lazy smile on his face. "I smashed it. What can you do to me? Brother, you." On the mountain peak, Qinin was so excited that she almost cried. Tang Xiaoxi was also stunned. Mu is back. On the ground, the seven luminaries demon emperor heaved a sigh of relief. He smiled weakly. "We won this battle." Chapter 1248. "It's you?" Juyo Demon Monarch's face instantly turned livid. Lin Muyu's appearance had already cast a shadow on his heart. It was this kid who defeated him in 3 moves. "It's you." Ziyan repeated Juyo Demon Monarch's words. His eyes were full of resentment as he said, "What are you waiting for? This person is the strongest martial deity among the upright deities. Kill him, kill him." For a moment, the purple clouds in the sky fell like a tsunami. That was the army of thousands of Mara. Lin Muyu sat motionlessly on the dragon's back. He gently raised his left hand and a bunch of golden light floated in his palm. In the blink of an eye, his back bloomed with a bright light and suddenly became bigger. It was like the shell of an ancient dragon turtle, which was hundreds of meters in radius. The outside of the shell was full of tiny golden awns. Those were the sword chi of Ao sword tactics. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The sword chi continued to fly out, piercing through the group of Maras as if he had unleashed tens of thousands of sword kinesis technique in an instant. In the blink of an eye, the sky was filled with a rain of blood. The first wave of Maras that charged at Lin Muyu had all been killed, while he himself was unharmed. He took a deep breath and muttered to himself, "The Radiance Armor technique is still very powerful." The seven luminaries demon emperors Xiao, Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi, Feng Jixing and others were all stunned. This was not the Lin Muyu they knew before. At this moment Lin Muyu was simply too strong. "Bastard! Xian roared, and the god-destroying tower in his hand shone brightly. It was about to be launched. However, Lin Muyu did not give him a chance to show his power. He raised his finger and suddenly, a heavenly light penetrated the clouds and went straight to Xian. It was the sword-intent power of AO sword tactics. What? Xian let out a low roar, raised his arm and swept it horizontally. Boom. Sparks rose in the air and Lin Muyu's sword chi was forcefully slapped away. However, Xian wasn't any better off. His arm was red and numb from the impact. If he didn't rely on the god-destroying pagoda and only relied on his own strength to fight against Lin Muyu, Xian felt that he would probably end up like the 9 underworlds demon monarch within 10 moves. What are you waiting for? Xian roared, kill them. All of you, kill them all. Demon king of the 9 underworlds. Follow me to deal with the gods of the Eastern God realm. Yes. Countless saint kings and demon generals raised their weapons, and with demonic flames, they turned into beams of fiery light and charged towards the ground. Finally, a full-scale battle had begun and it was no longer just one-on-one duels. In the air, countless Mara surrounded Lin Muyu. Obviously, the demon world wanted to use their advantage in numbers to entangle her and get rid of the other righteous gods first. Naturally, Lin Muyu would not let them have their way. She brought her palms together before her chest and formed a seal. In an instant, countless sword chis flew out from her body and shot towards the ground. Along the way, countless demonic luos were killed by the sword chis. There was no one who could stop her. She broke through the blockade like a golden fireball. Even the demonic generals were no different from the demonic luos. Their bodies were shattered just like that. On the ground, there were already tens of thousands of Mara who had landed and were fighting with the 7 luminaries demon emperor and the others. On the lone peak, Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi and the others carried raging flames and light as they descended. In the blink of an eye, it became a chaotic battle. Feng Jixing stood in the forest on the lone peak. He raised his palms and roared, wind manipulation. Hundreds of meters above the ground, a storm swirled and tore rows of Mara into pieces. At the same time, a ray of light descended from the sky and pierced through the storm that Feng Jixing had summoned. Even Lin Muyu, who was holding a sword will, was startled. He couldn't help but smile in surprise. Brother Feng, you've ascended? Feng Jixing laughed. That's right. Let's fight first. Shua. A cold light flashed past, and a demon general behind Lin Muyu was pierced through the heart. Wei Chou also appeared holding the Ho Yi Bao. He smiled and said, Lord, there's still me. Good, good, good. Lin Muyu was overjoyed. Her palms trembled as a powerful blood-red lightning exploded in the air like a storm. The power of Saint's martial arts is a power that only kind-hearted people can wield, so Lin Muyu activated it without hesitation. People from the demon realm can't wield this power. Instead, Feng Jixing, Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi, the 7 luminaries demon emperor and the others' potential were greatly stimulated, becoming even more powerful and invincible. On the ground, a flame exploded. This was the 9 Serenities Demon King's attack on Xiao. His demonic flame was much stronger than other demons. His several 100,000 years of cultivation was extremely pure. Even though his wounds haven't fully healed yet, he was still able to fight evenly with impartial goddess Xiao. The power of the domain fluctuated in the air. Lin Muyu swooped down with a sword will in her hand and shouted in a low voice, I didn't kill you yesterday, yet you still dare to come? What? The 9 Serenities Demon King trembled and felt a chill on his head. It was an attack from Lin Muyu, a familiar attack. Peng. It was difficult for people who were locked by the sword domain of the AO sword tactics to escape. The 9 Serenities Demon King exhausted all his strength but couldn't break free from the shackles of the sword domain. He was directly hit by the sword. He exploded into pieces. This old monster from the depths of the demon realm never thought that he would end up like this. Xia was slightly shocked. She couldn't help but look behind Lin Muyu and said, Be careful of the god-destroying tower. Lin Muyu was also stunned. Xian in the air had already taken out the god-destroying tower. The tower spun rapidly and the demonic flames spewed out. It suddenly attacked the direction of Lin Muyu. Even Xiao was within the attack range. After being locked, she couldn't move and could only take it head-on. The 7 luminaries demon emperor smashed a holy king with his axe. He turned around and was shocked. Xiao. He flew over and was about to use his body to block the god-destroying tower again. However, a gentle force in the air pushed him away. Lin Muyu said in a low voice, "Brother Demon Emperor, step aside. Let me do it." The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor was stunned, but it was obvious that Lin Muyu wasn't joking. He wouldn't do this if he didn't have absolute confidence. Peng. Lin Muyu stepped on the void and flew towards the light of the god-destroying tower. At the same time he put his palms together and looked calmly at Zhou Xian in the distance. Beams of sword intent revolved and condensed around his body. In the blink of an eye they gathered in front of his body. There were more and more sword auras. Soon they overlapped into a diamond-shaped giant shield formed by the power of the sword domain. It was bright and full of righteousness. Sword domain shield. Let's see if you can block it. There wasn't such a move in the AO sword technique. This was a move that Lin Muyu created by flexibly using the AO sword technique. She used the overlapping power of the sword domain to form a heavy shield to receive the opponent's fierce attack. The AO sword technique was just a general mental cultivation method. Only a martial god like Lin Muyu could understand the myriad changes within it. Die. Zhou Xian's roar came from the sky. The energy of the god-destroying tower officially exploded. Heaven and earth turned dark. The power of the entire demon domain was completely absorbed at this moment. Boom. The light beam bombarded the sword domain shield. Suddenly, the power of the first layer of the sword domain collapsed instantly. However, there was still the second layer, the third layer, and even more. Lin Muyu's eyes were cold. Her face was covered in sweat. She pushed the sword domain shield forward and approached the god-destroying tower. Although the power of the god-destroying tower was powerful, it only destroyed less than half of the sword domain shield. On the contrary, Lin Muyu sent the sword domain shield straight to the front of Zhou Xian and shouted, "Explode!" Bang! This huge energy shield actually exploded and turned into countless sword lights that raged in the sky. In an instant, countless people from the demon domain were killed. Zhou Xian didn't expect that Lin Muyu's move would be a defensive move with an offensive move. He could only use the shield power of the god-destroying tower to resist. In the blink of an eye, the light of the god-destroying tower dimmed a lot. Swish! Lin Muyu raised her hand and pulled out the Xianyuan sword. The sword light shone brightly and her figure attacked like lightning. She slashed at Zhou Xian's arm that was holding the god-destroying tower. In the loud sound, the light of the god-destroying tower became even dimmer. The power of the god-destroying tower that was used to protect him had been severely depleted. Clang, clang, clang. It was another 3 consecutive strikes. Zhou Xian was forced to retreat continuously. His face was full of shock. At this moment, Lin Muyu was worthy of the title of martial god. Who in the world could be this kid's opponent? Even the gods of the realm beyond Avalon would have to concede defeat against such a powerful attack from the heavenly might. Without waiting for Zhou Xian to go far away, Lin Muyu raised her hand and used the AO sword art again. Countless sword intents bombarded on Zhou Xian's protective aura. This lord of the demon domain had never been in such a sorry state. He held the god-destroying tower and retreated. At the same time he shouted, "Protect the god-destroying tower. Kill them all. Kill them all." Between heaven and earth, countless Mara's army came with the pressure of Mount Tai. You don't chase too far. On the ground, the 7 luminaries demon emperor shouted loudly. And the corresponding voice was the voice of Baifeng Holy King. Protect His Majesty Ancestor Emperor and retreat. Stop them. At this time Lin Muyu had also consumed more than half of her divine power. She took a deep breath and carried the Xianyuan sword to attack back. Her body was full of sword aura and no one could get close to her. The power of the AO sword art could be said to be fully exerted. And under the power of the holy martial arts, Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi, Feng Jixing, Wei Chou Chu Chu and other righteous gods were completely invincible. Each of them showed their magic power and fought with the army of Mara. In the blink of an eye, the ground was covered with a few thick layers of Mara's corpses. This was a great victory for the Eastern divinity. No one retreated. Nearly 300 people chased after tens of millions of Mara and attacked crazily. This battle lasted for a whole night. It was not until the next day when the sun pierced through the clouds that Mara's remnant army retreated. And not Haishan had been covered by Mara's corpse. The thick smell of blood was very pungent, but everyone who was covered in blood laughed. This battle was too rare. It was the beginning of the decline of the demon domain. On the peak of the mountain, the 7 luminaries demon emperor sat down on a rock. Let's rest for a while. I'm so tired. Lin Muyu also descended from the sky. She shook her arm lightly and burned all the blood on the long sword. Then she sheathed it and walked over on the rocks. There were only 2 little beauties in her eyes. She opened her arms and hugged them. Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi also hugged him tightly. After a whole night of fighting, they actually didn't have a chance to hug each other. Cough cough. Feng Jixing coughed. Chu Yao chuckled. The 7 luminaries demon emperor wiped the blood on his face and said, I originally thought you would snatch the god-destroying tower. I tried but I failed. Lin Muyu was a little helpless. She spread her hands and said, a radiance armor technique and a sword domain shield almost consumed a small part of my strength. This directly caused my strength to not be able to break through Ziyan's protective chi. Otherwise, I would have been able to keep the god-destroying tower. Also, Big Brother Demon Emperor, you should have noticed a fatal flaw of the sword domain shield. The Demon Emperor's eyes lit up. He smiled and said, the sword domain shield can only block 2 attacks from the god-destroying tower. If it is activated 3 times in a row, you won't be able to do anything, right? That's right. Ziyan is a fool. Pack up and prepare to return Mount Deshang. After this battle, the demon domain will definitely retreat from Mount Deshang. Chapter 1249. In the afternoon, Mara's army had retreated from Mount Deshang, leaving behind only the ruined Hall of Deshang and the badly damaged Divine Realm Altar, Hall of Rites, Hall of Mental Cultivation and Hall of Spiritual Wisdom. The gods slowly descended from the clouds. The 7 luminaries demon emperor's face was ashen. Those bastards, they even burned down the divine herb garden we planted. Ziyao gently landed on the ground and said, as long as there are seeds, we can replant the garden of magical herbs. Fortunately, Mount Deshang is still there. It's already a great gift that they didn't destroy this spiritual mountain. Lin Muyu frowned. Wei Chou, let's go patrol Mount Deshang and see if there are any ambushes left by the demon realm. Be careful. Yes, my lord. The 2 flew away. Sun Feng and Qing Ping, on the other hand, looked a little gratified. The Eastern God realm needed Lin Muyu, Wei Chou and Feng Jixing, who had been through hundreds of battles and had rich experience. Their arrival was like a welcome rain after a long drought. Qin Yin did a quick calculation. There were a total of 14 righteous gods and 183 useless gods on Mount Deshang, which meant that the Eastern divinity only had these kindling left. She couldn't help but lament that the Eastern divinity, which used to have more than 100,000 troops, had fallen to such a state. Gradually night fell. Xiao and Tang Xiaoxi found some food from the surrounding mountains and sent it to Mount Deshang by the rock. In addition, they had begun to repair the damaged houses. Even gods needed a place to live. This was inevitable. Lin Muyu and Wei Chou didn't go back for dinner. They were still searching around Mount Deshang. Stepping on a cloud, Lin Muyu's spiritual sense seeped into Mount Deshang. But all she sensed were layers of rocks that contained vast spiritual power. No matter how powerful the demon realm was, they couldn't penetrate every nook and cranny. Mount Deshang was formed thousands of years ago. Its structure was already perfect. It was impossible for them to invade at will. At this moment, Wei Chou suddenly raised the Hou-Yi bow and said, Your Excellency, look over there. What is that? Lin Muyu hurriedly turned around, only to hear a familiar sound coming from the clouds. Wait, don't attack first. Yes. Before long, a group of armored warriors riding on immortal phoenixes emerged from the clouds. Each of them held a weapon in their hands as they looked up at the peerless spiritual mountain that was Mount Deshang. At the front of the formation was an expert who was stepping on the void. He looked very familiar. It was Nangong Lai, whom they had not seen for a long time. He came from the sky, and around him was the divine power of a Mahayana heavenly god. Obviously, he had ascended. I haven't paid attention to the grimoire for a long time. I didn't even know that Nangong Lai had ascended. At this time, Nangong Lai had already seen Lin Muyu. He couldn't help but burst into laughter. He flew forward and said, Your subordinate Nangong Lai pays his respects to Lin General. Why are you here with Wei Chou? Lin Muyu was overjoyed. We should be asking you that. When did you ascend? It was so quiet. Just 2 hours ago. Nangong Lai's face was not without pride. He smiled and said, Lin General, your subordinate is a second-grade higher deity. I have the title of God of Earth. I control the power of Earth. Since I have ascended, I don't have much to bring with me. So, I broke through the barrier and brought 3,000 brothers of the heaven-punishing army to the Eastern Celestial Realm. I wonder if these 3,000 heaven-punishing army will come in handy? Not only will they come in handy, they are practically timely help. Lin Muyu was overjoyed. Although the heaven-punishing army had also suffered divine punishment and lost their divine power, they could still fly. Moreover, they were very brave. They were even stronger than the crippled gods of the Celestial Realm. Moreover, 3,000 of them just happened to appear when the Celestial Realm needed manpower. If this wasn't timely help, then what was? Go. I will take you to see the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor. Lin Muyu patted Nangong Lai's shoulder. Yes, let's go. When the group of heaven-punishing army saw their real master, they showed respectful expressions. After saluting, they followed Lin Muyu, Nangong Lai, and Wei Chou and flew straight to Mount Deshang. What? 3,000 heaven-punishing army soldiers? When the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor heard this news, he was already grinning from ear to ear. He strode out of the hall of Deshang and looked at the heaven-punishing army soldiers standing in the square. He couldn't help but laugh. They really sent a bunch of treasures. I was still worried that there was no one guarding the Celestial Realm. Now it seems that there is no need to worry anymore. Xiao chuckled. Demon Emperor, these heaven-punishing army soldiers are used troops. Now that Nangong Lai has brought them to the Celestial Realm, are you going to reward Nangong Lai with something? Of course. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor pondered and said, Nangong Lai, now that the Eastern Celestial Realm is in a mess, I don't have anything to reward you with. I'll just give you an empty title and confer you the title of General Zhang Lai. You will be in charge of the Imperial Army of the Eastern Celestial Realm. Of course, there is no Imperial Army at the moment. When it is rebuilt, you will be the general. How about it? Thank you, Demon Emperor, for your reward. Nangong Lai knelt on one knee and bowed. Get up, there is no need to be polite. At this time, most of the righteous gods and crippled gods had already gathered in the Hall of Great Accomplishment. Almost everyone was looking at the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor. He coughed and said, this time, it was thanks to martial god Lin Muyu's timely return that our Eastern Celestial Realm was able to escape this calamity. In this battle, Yu's contributions are unparalleled. As for rewards, I really can't think of anything good to reward him with. How about we split the throne of the Eastern Celestial Realm's King of Gods in half? Me and you will each have half. You, what do you think? Lin Muyu stood below the king's step and shook her head. She said, there is no need, big brother. There is no need for that. Besides, I have long been indifferent to glory, splendor, wealth and whatnot. I can even give up the title of Prince Qin in the Shattered Cauldron Realm, let alone the Eastern Celestial Realm's King of Gods who only has a dozen or so righteous gods under his command. It is said that mothers don't despise their children for being ugly. You are really an exception. You actually despise your family for being poor. Forget it, you are a martial god, a supreme god. It makes no difference whether you are rewarded or not. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor had a resentful look on his face. He said, You and Feng Jixing are people who have been through hundreds of battles. How do you think the Eastern Celestial Realm should deal with the current situation? Guard them first and wait for the ascended righteous gods to gather. Lin Muyu raised her eyebrows and continued. In addition, send people to investigate and find out clearly where the Devil World's army is and where Ziyan is. After all, they only suffered some losses this time, but they have not truly suffered any serious injuries. The main force of the Devil World is still there. Yes, let's do that. Zi Yao, who was at the side, said, in this battle, Ziyan was lightly injured by Ayu, so the enchantment he condensed in the God realm has already turned into nothingness. Now it is very easy to find his position. My Northern Heavenly will can easily find him. Don't worry, leave the investigation to me. Qin Yin said, Ziyan is constantly looking for new helpers and power. The 9 Underworld's Demon Monarch is an example. In addition to the nightmare army that Big Brother Yu encountered, it is clear that Ziyan will not give up easily. Naturally, Ziyan is looking for ancient power. We cannot just sit and wait for death. In my opinion, we can also seek help. Oh. Xiao smiled and said, Xiaoyin, did you find something? Qin Yin smiled and said, yes, when I investigated the Order of the 6 Realms, I found a very strong force in the ghost realm. This force originates from the quiet spring, and there is an awe-inspiring righteousness in the power. Therefore, I think that there are gods hidden in the quiet spring that we do not know about. We should send people to investigate. Maybe we will find something? Xiao nodded. You are the graceful goddess who controls the order of the 6 realms. Your senses cannot be wrong. Then the Eastern Divine World will send some righteous gods to explore the quiet spring. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor said, Wait, Mount Desheng needs to be guarded by the main force. Otherwise it will be troublesome if Ziyan returns. In addition, the reason why Mount Desheng was directly attacked was because Mount Dongming, the outpost at the entrance of the Eastern Heaven Realm, was captured. Therefore, I plan to send a team to rebuild the defense line at Mount Dongming. This requires manpower, and our biggest problem now is the lack of manpower. Sun Feng cupped his fists and said, I am willing to go and rebuild Mount Dongming. Qing Ping also nodded, I am also willing. Lin Muyu said, Wei Chou has the Ho Yi Bao, which is very effective against powerful demon gods. It is suitable for defense. Let Wei Chou, Shaoxi and Big Brother Feng guard Mount Desheng. Demon Emperor Yu, Sister Xiao, Lu Kuei, Xia Yan and Nangong Lai will lead half of the Xingtian Heavenly Army to rebuild Mount Dongming. As for the rest, Xiao Yin and I will go to the Quiet Spring to look for new divine world powers. Xiao Yin can sense the order and I am enough to deal with danger. The 2 of us are the most suitable. With just the 2 of us, will it really be okay, Yu? The Demon Emperor seemed to be a little worried. No problem. Lin Muyu smiled faintly. The Quiet Spring is located in the Ghost Realm. Demon Emperor, do you think the Ghost Emperors in the Ghost Realm are my match? That's true. Then let's go. I will be at ease if you are with Xiao Yin. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor waved his hand lightly. Then don't stay idle. Carry out your tasks. The rise of the Eastern Divine World depends on us. Yes, Demon Emperor. Everyone answered in unison. At night, the bright moon shone on the attic of the Hall of Great Accomplishment. Are we really leaving immediately? Tang Xiaoxi sat on the railing and asked gloomily. Yes, there are many things waiting to be done in the Eastern Divine World. We all have to contribute. But I want to go with you. Lin Muyu approached her and held her hand. I also want to bring you with me, but the Divine World is too short of manpower. You have the power of a righteous god, so it is better for you to stay here. Sister Chu Yao, Brother Feng and the others will accompany you. The Quiet Spring is not a fun place. I have been there once and so has Xiao Yin. It is safer for us to go together. Then you have to come back early. Tang Xiaoxi gently leaned into his arms. Lin Muyu caressed her hair gently, but his body suddenly froze and did not move for a long time until he turned into countless fireflies and disappeared in the air. That was the scene of a righteous god's death. Tang Xiaoxi tried to grab him but she could not. Her heart was in so much pain that she could not speak. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Ah! Suddenly waking up from the bed, Tang Xiaoxi's body was surrounded by flames, almost igniting the bedding. Her face was slightly pale, so it was a dream. Mu Xiaoyin, please be okay. Chapter 1250. At midnight the gates of hell opened. The inside of the gates of hell was filled with black mist, and one could even faintly hear the cries of ghosts and gods, making one's hair stand on end. Fortunately, it wasn't the first time Lin Muyu and Qin Yin had come here, so they weren't that afraid. Swish, swish. 2 figures dragged the golden flowing light of the Mahayana heavenly Tao into the gates of hell. In the distance, a long line of people went straight to the bridge of helplessness in the distance. The 6 realms were in chaos and there were many wars. The business of the ghost realm was getting better and better. Countless ghost soldiers drove ghosts to walk on this road to the Yellow Springs, and one could hear the sounds of beatings and wailing at every turn. Lin Muyu flew at a low altitude with Qin Yin, and looked at everything in the ghost realm with a frown. There were so many dead souls here, which could only mean that the number of dead in the mortal world was innumerable. Who is it? A huge black shadow shouted in the air. It was a ghost dragon leader. Under the light, Lin Muyu saw his appearance clearly. It was extremely ugly, so she said, We are from the Eastern Divine Realm and we want to go to the Nether Spring to investigate something. The ghost dragon leader also discovered the identity of the 2 and immediately said respectfully, So it's the 2 immortals. It's just that the rules of the 6 realms are like iron. Even immortals shouldn't enter the ghost realm. I hope the 2 immortals can understand. This lowly one can't let you enter the lower ghost realm. Yin smiled faintly and gently raised her palm. The power of law was dense in her palm and she said, "The order of the 6 realms is in my control. I think I can be exempted from this, right?" "You are the graceful goddess Yin?" The ghost dragon leader was shocked and hurriedly bowed respectfully on the dragon's back and said, "If it's the graceful goddess, then please come in. Please forgive this lowly one for being blind." Lin Muyu smiled at Lin Muyu, grabbed his hand and flew through the air heading straight for the lower purgatory. But just as they were about to enter the entrance to Inferno, another group of people blocked their way. This time it was a group of people dressed in golden armor. They were the abyssal prefects of the ghost realm. These were existences that were second only to the 3 ghost emperors. However, in the eyes of Lin Muyu and Yin, these abyssal prefects were far too weak. They were the kind of people who could easily take on 10 abyssal prefects at once. "Exalted immortals, please wait." An official lord carried a huge shovel and said, "I'm the Hingyang official lord. May I know why the 2 of you are heading to the 18 levels of purgatory?" Lin Muyu said, "We discovered an anomaly in the Netherworld spring, so we want to investigate it. This is also for the good of your ghost realm. I hope you won't stop us." "Exalted immortal, the affairs of the ghost realm will naturally be handled by the ghost immortals of the ghost realm. There's no need for the gods of the Mahayana heavenly path to intervene. I hope you can focus on how to fight against the devil realm. The ghost realm doesn't need you to intervene." Lin Muyu raised his hand and pulled out the Xianyuan sword. For a moment, the patterns on the sword flowed endlessly and were incomparably dazzling. The power of the Saint martial arts was extremely mighty. "Exalted immortal, what do you want to do?" The Hingyang official lord was shocked. "If the soft approach doesn't work, then the hard approach. What do you think I want to do?" Lin Muyu said lightly. He didn't want to waste time here. Anyway, he had already caused havoc in the ghost realm once, so he didn't mind doing it again now. Yin also pulled out the Donghua sword with a smile and stood side by side with Lin Muyu in the wind, ready to cause havoc in the netherworld. The Hingyang official lord's face was extremely ugly. He said, "Although we are not as strong as the exalted immortal, the dignity of the ghost realm official lord cannot be blasphemed. Since the 2 exalted immortals want to fight, then let's fight." The 5 official lords all took out their weapons, and around them the densely packed ghost dragon leaders, ghost soldiers and ghosts also approached one by one, ready to attack Lin Muyu and Yin at any time. "You really dare to fight?" Lin Muyu couldn't help but laugh. He suddenly opened his left hand and shouted in a low voice, "Heaven and earth, listen to my command." The light of the blood-red thunder surged, and the power of the Saint martial arts erupted. Suddenly, the bodies of the 5 official lords couldn't move. Lin Muyu's arms sank slightly, and their bodies crashed into the ground, creating a large pit. Each of them looked very embarrassed. Although their lives were not in danger, it was embarrassing enough. In front of a group of his subordinates, they didn't even have the power to fight back. Bang, bang, bang. With 3 consecutive sounds, Lin Muyu used the bodies of the 5 official lords to create a large pit in the ground that led straight to the 18th level of hell. Then he raised his hand and threw the 5 official lords into the air. He smiled and said, "Xiao, let's go down." Yes. Facing the blood-red ghost flames, the 2 righteous gods flew down. In the depths of the well of reincarnation, one of the 3 ghost emperors, the ghost emperor of 5 directions, slowly opened his eyes. There was a trace of helplessness in his blood-red eyes. He said, "That brat Yu, why doesn't he go through the front door? It seems that the idiot weeping blood is going to clash with you again." Before he finished speaking, the voice of an official lord came from outside the stone door. "Your Majesty, there is news from above that 2 righteous gods have broken into the 18th level of hell. Should we go and have a look?" "What are you looking at? What's there to look at?" The ghost emperor of the 5 directions stretched lazily. "The 18 hells are weeping blood's territory. It has nothing to do with us. If there's any crime, let that old bastard weeping blood suffer. Have you forgotten that he tried to take over my territory last month? Weeping blood's cultivation has improved by leaps and bounds recently. It's a good time to let him know that there's always a higher mountain out there. But the 3 ghost emperors are on the same side. Isn't that a little inappropriate? Cut the crap. Wake me up when the war god and grace goddess arrive at the well of reincarnation." Your Majesty, how do you know that they're the war god and grace goddess? Even the war god is here. Shouldn't we inform His Majesty Weeping Blood about this? Inform my ass. I'd be happy to see him get a good beating. Yes, Your Majesty. I'll get to it right away. What are you going to do? There's nothing for you to do. Go back to sleep. Yes. Boom. The earth trembled and a giant hole appeared in the purgatory. When Lin Muyu broke through the 11th purgatory, the main character could no longer sit still. Amidst the fiery wind and clouds, figures appeared one after another on the land of the 11th purgatory. Among them there were countless prefects, ghost dragon leaders, and even a ghost emperor. It was the legendary Weeping Blood Ghost Emperor, the ghost god that Lin Muyu had met once before. Stop. Weeping Blood Ghost Emperor roared. His voice actually formed a blood-colored barrier in the air. His strength was unfathomable. No wonder he was so arrogant recently and even challenged the ghost emperors of 5 directions. Looking at the 2 righteous gods in the sky, Weeping Blood Ghost Emperor was stunned. Why do you look so familiar? What's wrong? Don't you recognize me, Your Majesty? Lin Muyu smiled. So it's you, Lin Muyu. Weeping Blood Ghost Emperor was shocked. He originally didn't know the identity of the 2 righteous gods, but he recognized Lin Muyu. In this world, who didn't know that Lin Muyu was conferred the title of martial god by the Mahayana Heavenly Tao? Even the remote ghost realm knew that there was only one martial god in this world. You. Weeping Blood Ghost Emperor trembled with anger. As a martial god, why did you come to smash my 18 purgatory? I'm not smashing, I'm just passing by. Lin Muyu emphasized with a solemn expression. The gate to the 18 purgatory is too hard to find, so I had to forcefully break through the spatial wall. This way it would be more convenient. Xiaoyin and I have an important matter to attend to at Nether Spring. I hope Your Majesty won't obstruct us. To Nether Spring. Weeping Blood Ghost Emperor said, Nether Spring is Dong Lin's territory, why are you going there? Xiaoyin clearly sensed the disorder in Nether Spring, so as the righteous gods of the 6 worlds, we have the responsibility to investigate. After all, the matter in Nether Spring might be beyond the 3 great ghost emperors' ability to handle, so please don't obstruct us. Beyond the 3 great ghost emperors' ability. Weeping Blood Ghost Emperor couldn't help but laugh. Lin Muyu, even if you're a martial god, aren't you being too arrogant? Is there anything in this vast ghost realm that the 3 great ghost emperors can't handle? Since you're so arrogant, I won't be polite with you. Come, let me see how powerful a martial god is. Men, carry my blood blade. A few ghost soldiers came with a battle blade. The blade was as red as blood, no wonder it was called Blood Blade. Buzz. Weeping Blood Ghost Emperor suddenly grabbed the blade with a sinister smile and said, If you can defeat me, you can come and go as you please in the 18 layers of hell. No one will stop you. But if you can't beat me, then sorry, there will be no more martial gods in the 6 worlds from now on. You want to kill me? Lin Muyu asked with a smile. Why not? Then come. Lin Muyu didn't even draw her sword. She dived down and went straight for Weeping Blood Ghost Emperor. Come, have a taste of your father's blood blade. The blood blade streaked across the sky, and streams of ice-cold air swept over. It was bone-chilling. No wonder the blood-sobbing Ghost Emperor was so arrogant. His cultivation had at least doubled in the past few years, and he was already above the Ghost Emperors of the 5 directions. However, Lin Muyu's cultivation speed was even faster. She closed her fingers and slashed down with sword intent, 30% of her strength. As the sword will collided with the blade, Lin Muyu raised her finger and slashed out 3 times in a row. Unexpectedly, the blood-sobbing Ghost Emperor was forced to retreat as his battle boots stomped on the flaming ground of purgatory. A trace of surprise appeared on his face. He didn't expect Lin Muyu to be this powerful. However, there was something even more unexpected. Buzz. Lin Muyu clasped her palms together and unleashed a huge sword intent. 60% of her strength. The hard ground exploded, and Weeping Blood Ghost Emperor's battle blade was directly blown away. Blood scars appeared on his chest. His body could no longer withstand the attacks of AO sword arts. Even the 9 underworlds Demon King couldn't withstand the 60% attack of Lin Muyu, let alone a mere Weeping Blood Ghost Emperor. In the sky, 3 dazzling sword lights hung there, ready to take Weeping Blood Ghost Emperor's life at any time. Lin Muyu looked down at the ground and said indifferently, Admit defeat and I won't kill you. Weeping Blood Ghost Emperor lay on the ground with a pale face and trembling body. He said, I admit defeat. Martial God, please spare my life. That's right. Lin Muyu flipped her palm and the power of Ao sword arts dissipated. She said, Xiaoyin, let's go down. Chapter 1251. The Valley of Fallen Gods was one of the many spiritual mountains in the Eastern Divine World that was close to the border. Now it had become a temporary base for the demon world. Millions of Mara were hovering in the sky, bustling with activity. On the peak of the mountain, a group of holy king and demon generals stood there respectfully, surrounding one person. This person was naturally Ziyan. His expression was gloomy as he held the god-destroying tower and said, In this battle, how many of Mara's troops did we lose? Answer me truthfully. A demon general said, Nearly 7 million, Your Majesty. 7 million. Ziyan's eyes were filled with deep hatred. A mere battle cost me 7 million Mara's troops. What a martial god, what a mad god. I will turn you into ashes sooner or later. Just you wait. Holy King Baifeng said in a low voice, Your Majesty, the enemy is strong while we are weak. Lin Muyu's holy martial power is incomparably strong and can raise a mortal's cultivation to the god realm. Our Mara is not even worth mentioning in front of these righteous gods. Our advantage in numbers cannot be shown at all. In my opinion, why don't we return to the demon world and continue to cultivate the god-destroying tower to nurture stronger demon gods? What did you say? Ziyan grinned coldly. Baifeng, I know you have good intentions, but if you dare to say such words again, I guarantee that you will suffer a fate worse than death. Your subordinate knows his mistake. Baifeng took a few steps back and knelt on the ground. The group of Holy King Baifeng said in unison, Holy King Baifeng was just speaking without thinking. Your Majesty, please forgive us. Ziyan looked at the glowing god-destroying tower and said, Lin Muyu, the 7 luminaries demon emperor, and the rest think that the demon world only has the weak Mara. They are gravely mistaken. I will prove to them how powerful the demon world is. Baifeng was stunned. Your Majesty, you have a plan? That's right. Ziyan looked up at the sky and said, Why is the heavenly path of the Mahayana plane called the heavenly path of the Mahayana plane? That's because there are 3 ancestral gods protecting the people of the 6 realms. On the Golden Mountain, which is known as the Holy Land, Fuxi and his 4 disciples have been resisting the devouring of the nether servant Behemoth. Fuxi is like a bright lamp that illuminates the gods of the 6 realms. This time, we won't do anything else but extinguish this bright lamp and use the divine power of the nether servant to create the strongest warrior of the demon realm. Let's see how the gods of the heavenly path of the Mahayana plane will resist. The strongest warrior of the devil world? Baifeng was stunned. Ziyan laughed heartily and said, In the legends of humans, Goddess Nuwa created humans. Then, in the legends of the demon realm, it was Ancestor Emperor Ziyan who created the demon race. The group of Holy King was stunned. No one knew what Ziyan was talking about. Ziyan stood up and held the god-destroying tower majestically. He said, Pass down my order. Holy King Haifeng will lead 5 million Mara to attack the Western Divine Realm. Holy King Hanyan will lead 5 million Mara to attack the Eastern Divine Realm. Holy King Hong Kong will lead 5 million Mara to attack the Northern Heavenly Realm. Execute this immediately and fight to the death. If you don't conquer these 3 realms, you don't need to come back. Yes, Your Majesty. The 3 holy kings turned around and gathered the army of the devil world as if they were under a mind manipulation spell. What are we doing? Baifeng asked in shock. What are we doing? Ziyan chuckled and said, You will know very soon. Baifeng, gather all the demon generals and holy king level experts. Follow me to attack gold in half a day. I want the 4 realms to know the determination of the devil world and pull out Fuxi, this guiding light. Baifeng, yes. Half a day passed quickly. Not long after, Ziyan led the army of the devil world and rushed into the sky. Their target was gold. On gold, the flowers of a few holy trees were falling one after another. These flowers were glowing with a faint golden brilliance and were incomparably holy. However, they were still withering as if foretelling something big was about to happen. Master, they are coming. Fan Yang cupped his fists and said, Ziyan's current strength has reached an unimaginable level. With the help of the god-destroying pagoda and the god-beast Shiming, I'm afraid we will not be able to stop them. Fuxi stood under a towering holy tree. He was dressed in a white robe and had the demeanor of an immortal. He said calmly, "Master has ordered us to guard this place. This is our fate. Fate dictates it, we will not be able to escape. Once we leave, gold will definitely be devoured by the god beast Shiming. Then the eastern realm will be devoured next. At that time, the entire 6 realms will not be able to escape the fate of being devoured. How will we face the common people? How will we face the gods of the heaven beyond heavens?" But Meiyu frowned and said, "Master, why is it that only our sect has to bear all of this?" Fuxi nodded and said, "This is fate. The gods of the realm beyond heaven aren't omnipotent and omniscient. The demon world has come too quickly, and perhaps even Master didn't expect it to be like this. We have to survive this tribulation, and even if we can't, we still have to prepare the formation. If Ziyan wants to kill us, we can't let Shiming continue to devour us." Wanxing looked at Fuxi worriedly and said, Master, don't say any more. Set up the formation, they are coming." Yes. In the sky, dark clouds rolled over. The people of the devil world had really come. Apart from that, a loud roar came from the horizon. It was the angry roar of the god beast Shiming. It was ready to attack gold again. "They are coming." Fan Yang lightly swung his treasured sword and stepped on the star position. He said, "Be careful." Fuxi stood on the main star position and looked at the devils in the sky with a calm expression. With a light wave of the infinite sword in his hand, a huge light from the formation soared into the sky and protected the whole of gold from being invaded. In the clouds, the devil world's army was ready to fight. A person flew forward and held the god-destroying pagoda in his hand. He smiled and said, "Heavenly Emperor Fuxi, you once commanded the 4 great god realms and were known as the #1 person in the 6 realms. How does it feel to be surpassed?" Fuxi smiled faintly and said, "Wind is everywhere. You can surpass it for a moment, but can you surpass it for a lifetime? Ziyan, as the devil lord, why don't you think for the devil world and make such a big fuss? Do you think the Mahayana heavenly Tao will let the devil world go?" Ziyan laughed loudly and said, "Don't give me that. You make it sound like you will let the devil world go if I don't kill them. You righteous gods have always been hypocritical. Our devil world's war is called killing, but you killing the people of the devil world is called eliminating demons and protecting the Tao. Do you have the final say in this, Tao? In my opinion, everything I'm doing now is subduing demons. I'm subduing you hypocritical evildoers and subduing your filthy inner demons. Stop talking nonsense and prepare to receive my attack." Fuxi smiled leisurely and said, "You seem to be the one who talks the most, damn it." Ziyan was flustered and exasperated. He suddenly took out the god-destroying pagoda and roared. The light from the pagoda soared into the sky, and the entire sky seemed to be illuminated by a deep purple light. The power of the devil world was reflected rapidly and seeped into the god-destroying pagoda. It attacked the gold god-destroying pagoda with a vast heavenly might. That beam of purple light was incomparably tyrannical. Bang! The power of the god-destroying pagoda crashed onto the golden enchantment, and at the same time, the golden enchantment trembled. Fuxi, Fan Yang, Miue, and the others who were standing in the center of the enchantment also trembled. Even Hao Qin, who had a weaker cultivation, had blood flowing out from the corner of his mouth. It was just one attack, but the god-destroying pagoda had already depleted close to 30% of the enchantment's energy. "Hao Qin, control your mind." Fuxi gently waved the immeasurable sword in his hand, bringing with it waves of peaceful ripples that filled the entire enchantment, calming the demonic thoughts and shock that seeped into the hearts of the 4 disciples. "Master, I'm fine." Hao Qin nodded. "And prepare for the second attack." Yes. In the sky, the second beam of light arrived in less than 10 seconds. This time, Ziyan was completely flustered and exasperated. He looked as though he would not give up until the god-destroying pagoda was destroyed. Boom! The light from the god-destroying pagoda crashed into the enchantment again. This time, the entire enchantment started to tremble, and the flowers on the saint tree at the back had already started to wilt. Peef peef! Wanxing and Hao Qin vomited blood at the same time. This attack had depleted the enchantment's energy to less than 30%. "Master, I'm afraid we can't withstand the third attack." Miue's face was pale as she muttered, If little junior brother was here, how good would it be?" Fushi's gaze was indifferent. With some disappointment he said, "You has his own mission to complete and this is our mission." "Hold on, the more energy the god-destroying pagoda is depleted, the more energy the demon world will deplete. If we die for the Mahayana Heavens Tao, it will be worth it." In the sky, Xian's fierce roar could be heard. "Damn it, it's still not broken. Shiming, you bastard, what are you waiting for? Swallow this god-destroying pagoda quickly." Roar, roar, roar. The clouds rolled and the huge beast Shiming appeared. Its huge mouth looked like it was going to swallow the heavens and the earth. It opened its mouth, and its ferocious fangs bit down on the golden enchantment. Ping. Shiming's fangs bit through the golden enchantment, but it was not good for Shiming either. He suffered the continuous backlash of the enchantment, and the corner of his mouth had already split open. Blood splattered and he screamed continuously. "You're finally willing to appear." Fushi's brows relaxed and he revealed a relaxed look. "Master, the enchantment can't withstand it anymore." Fan Yang shouted. Fushi said, "Don't panic." As he spoke, Fushi carried the immeasurable sword and flew up, facing Xian's third attack. Buzz buzz buzz. The god-destroying pagoda screeched and the third attack was about to be unleashed. "All of you go and die." Xian roared and the pagoda pointed straight at god-destroying pagoda. A huge beam of energy flew out. But Fushi, who was in the air, faced the attack with confidence. He suddenly held the immeasurable sword in front of him, and rays of golden light flowed out, causing the group of demon generals and the Holy King to be dumbfounded. They had never seen such a powerful god before. He actually used his own strength to fight against the god-destroying pagoda 3 times. 10,000 immeasurable techniques subdue demons. Fushi shouted. Instantly, the beam of light from the god-destroying pagoda was swallowed and transformed by the immeasurable sword's light. "Oh, how is this possible?" Xian turned pale with fright. Fushi spun and landed on the ground. The immeasurable sword in his hand suddenly pointed at the god-beast Shiming on the other side. He shouted, "Evil creature, since you have fallen into the demonic path, let me purify you." Hong. An extremely strong light shot into the sky, and the energy from the god-destroying pagoda 3 times exploded at once. Roar, roar, roar. The god-beast Shiming's body trembled and cracked and its cries echoed in the sky. Chapter 1252. Golden lava-like energy flowed out from the cracks on Shiming's body. Shiming's body couldn't withstand such a powerful impact and started to crumble. These golden cracks outlined his entire body that was hidden in the darkness. It was actually hundreds of meters long. This giant beast was really huge. Roar, roar. After a final roar, Shiming's body suddenly exploded, lighting up the entire sky. "Damn it, despicable." Xian's face was pale as he roared, "Despicable Fushi, die, you old bastard." God-destroying tower for strike. This time even Fushi couldn't dodge in time. The god-destroying tower's light almost pierced through the hole of gold. With a miserable howl, Hao Qin, who had the lowest cultivation among the 4 disciples, had already fallen in the sky and turned into a shattered star. 4th junior brother. Mue, Fan Yang and the others were pale. "Calm your mind and protect gold." Fushi suddenly raised the infinite sword and a huge Taishu avatar appeared under his feet. "This is our calamity. My Fushi sect will not perish here." Fan Yang, Mue, and Luanxing raised their swords and released their divine power. They merged with Fushi's power and formed an incomplete barrier. In the sky, Xian laughed loudly. "What a joke. You think you're all righteous. Come, 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 let me fulfill your righteous act." God-destroying tower 5th strike. Boom. Flames soared into the sky. It was only a single strike, but it had actually destroyed half of the barrier. Wah. Luanxing groaned and took several steps back. Her sword was broken and her divine meridians were destroyed. She knelt on the ground weakly and murmured, "Master, disciple is useless." Swish, swish, swish. Her body started to turn into light and became a shattered star in the universe. Luanxing. Mue's tears flowed down her face. She looked up at Fushi and asked while crying, "What? Master, why did you do this?" "Just take it as, for the sake of faith." Fushi raised his immeasurable sword again to receive the 6th attack from the god-destroying pagoda. Amidst the explosion, although Fushi had blocked the attack, Fan Yang let out a miserable groan. His body fell into the starry sky along with the shattered corner of the metal, disappearing without a trace in the blink of an eye. Senior brother. Miu spat out a mouthful of blood. The sword in her hand had already been broken into two. She muttered, Master, what should we do? What should we do? Fushi's robe fluttered in the wind. He seemed to have aged a lot, and the white hair on his temples had been replaced by silver. He said in a low voice, Miu, hide behind Master. Quick, Master. Meiyu wept, kneeled on the ground and crawled behind Fushi. Fushi, what else do you have? Just use it or else I will kill all of your disciples. In the sky, Ziyan held the god-destroying pagoda and laughed maniacally. Holy King Baifeng, who was behind him, remained silent. She knew that the old man in front of her was once the ruler of the three realms. But now he had fallen to such a miserable state for the sake of the common people. It was truly lamentable. Fushi ignored Ziyan. Instead, he raised his immeasurable sword lightly. Rays of starlight appeared beneath his feet. At the same time, the divine veins in his body shone faintly. He said indifferently, One star jade light protects the common people. Buzz. Profound energy slowly rose and a resplendent star condensed beside Fushi's left leg. He continued to shout in a low voice, 2 stars opening sun protects the spirit light. A second star appeared under his armpit. Power continuously surged, but Fushi seemed even older. He swung his sword and lightly stepped on the ground with his left leg. He said, 3 stars jade scale protects the common people. When the third star rose, Fushi's face became even paler. Miu's face was full of tears as she cried, Master, don't use the 7 stars curse. Master, don't. The 7 stars curse was Fushi's unique ultimate art. It could only be used once in one's life. After using it, one would be like a lamp that had its oil extinguished and turn into dust. Fushi didn't listen to Miu's words. He continued to step on the ground and said, For stars Migra's size Rongzheng. Master. Miu's entire body trembled. In the sky, a ray of light shot down. God-destroying pagoda, the 7th attack. Peng. The fierce light blasted onto the 7 stars seal in front of Fushi, causing Fushi's body to tremble slightly. However, the 7-star seal was still intact. 5 stars Fecta suppresses evil. The stars rose with a buzzing sound and landed on Fushi's left arm. It was as if they were embedded into his body. 6 stars divine jade assemble seal. The 6th star rose. Ziyan, who was in the sky, was already trembling. He could sense that the strength of this old man in front of him had far surpassed his own. In fact, it had far surpassed the god-destroying pagoda. You're courting death, courting death. Ziyan roared angrily and activated the 8th attack of the god-destroying pagoda. Boom. The 7 stars seal didn't move. Instead, it suffered from the backlash of the god-destroying pagoda. Some demon generals were killed. Fushi's eyes slowly opened. They were as vast and boundless as the stars. He said softly, 7 stars dub he stands in the heavens. Ping. The moment his heel lightly knocked on the ground, the surrounding laws seemed to have been reconstructed. The sky was filled with golden ancient runes walls, causing the densely packed Mara to crash into the walls and shatter. The people of the demon domain hated this kind of righteous energy. They were already in a state of chaos. They were like headless flies bumping into everything. In a blink of an eye, more than half of the 10 million Mara that Ziyan had brought were dead or injured. Enough! Ziyan roared angrily. God-destroying pagoda 9th attack. Boom. It was still unable to penetrate the 7 stars seal. Miu. Fushi's eyes turned hollow as he said, Master's injuries are too severe. I can't activate the 7 stars curse's counterattack. Cough cough. Master has blocked the 10th attack of the god-destroying pagoda. Hurry up and leave. Master will use the Imperial Wind Art to send you off. Master, don't. Miu held onto the broken sword and kept begging. However, her body was rapidly wrapped by a ball of light. She couldn't help but fly into the star river behind her. Master, don't. In her remaining vision, Miu saw Fushi's pale face starting to crumble. It turned into golden sand and flowed into the star river. An unparalleled god had passed away just like that. Boom. The 10th attack of the god-destroying pagoda still couldn't break through the 7 stars curse's seal. Fushi looked at Ziyan with hollow eyes and smiled faintly. My disciples. We'll definitely slay the demon and let evil people like you receive the punishment they deserve. The moment he finished his sentence, Fushi's body disappeared with the wind. He turned into a wisp of sand in the Star River. Nothing was left. Even the immeasurable sword turned into sand along with its owner. Xian stood in the air and trembled. He looked at the dark god-destroying pagoda and couldn't help but curse. Bastard! Bastard! You bastard! Why did you do this? Bastard! Although he had won, he was still defeated. He wasn't happy at all. Ancestor Emperor. Bai Feng flew over and said softly, Ancestor Emperor, please calm down. Gold has been destroyed and Fuxi is dead. Our mission is considered a success. Ancestor Emperor, you don't have to be angry. Is it a success? Xian's mouth was full of hatred. What kind of a success is this? I played with this old thing in the palm of my hand. He used the power of my god-destroying pagoda to kill Shiming and even used the 7 stars curse to make me helpless. What kind of success is this? Tell me, what kind of success is this? Bai Feng was silent. At this time, a holy king flew over and pointed at the light left behind by the explosion of the giant beast, saying, Ancestor Emperor Shiming has gathered the power of the devil flame for millions of years. Its spirit bone is full of devil chi and the spiritual power of our devil world. Since Ancestor Emperor has cultivated the power of reconstruction, why don't you resurrect Shiming and use its spirit bone to create new warriors? That's right, that's right. I haven't completely lost. Xian suddenly turned around and looked at the spirit bone of the giant beast, saying, All of you come over here. Tens of thousands of spirit bones surged over, and Xian clenched his fist, instantly crushing the spirit bones into tiny pieces. At the same time, countless strands of demonic qi surged out, and when the entire Ming servant's body was split into 4 small figures, Bai Feng and the other Saint King-level demon realm experts were all stunned. The strength of these 4 meatballs was enough to make one's hair stand on end, and together, they were far stronger than the Ming servant itself. Evil aura. They had absorbed the evil aura of the God World War to become so strong. Bai Feng's eyes were indifferent, but there was a hint of hatred between his brows. These balls of energy were like water but also like meat. The only thing that didn't change was their violent aura. Once they were created, they were born to kill. When that happened, the 6 realms would probably be even more chaotic. Xian's mouth was full of a proud smile. He opened his palm and used his own devil qi to nourish these newborn devil world warriors. Not long after, the 4 newborn devils had already revealed their embryonic forms. Each of them had a different expression and their bodies had become huge. They were as tall as 5 or 6 people. They were all big guys, but the devil qi in their bodies was also very strong. Bai Feng, the Holy King, frowned and said, Your Majesty, won't their huge bodies affect their speed? You can try. Ah. Before Bai Feng's voice fell, a cold wind suddenly swept past behind her. A giant axe with a sharp edge was at her waist. She didn't know when, but one of the Devil World warriors had already appeared behind her. His speed was so fast that it could be said that he was silent. How is it? Xian's mouth was full of a proud smile. Do you still think that their bodies will affect their speed? From now on, they are the 4 heavenly kings of our devil world. No. Bai Feng sighed. The stronger the 4 heavenly kings were, the more chaotic the 6 realms would be. The terrifying thing was that the 4 heavenly kings were too strong. Almost every one of them was above the level of the devil king of the 9 underworlds. Xian didn't just absorb the spirit bones of Shiming in the star universe. He even mixed a part of the divine power of Fuxi Luanxing and Haoqin in the remains of Jin. How could such a monster not be strong? Ghost Realm, 18 levels of purgatory. Swoosh. The moment she rushed out of the flames, Lin Muyu suddenly felt her mind in chaos. She suddenly stopped in the air with a pale face. She murmured, What happened? What happened? What's wrong, big brother? You? Qin Yin asked. I suddenly felt uneasy. Something must have happened, but I can't sense it. Qin Yin clenched her fist and said, I also feel that something happened, but I also can't sense it. This place is too far from the God world. Let's go. Quiet Spring is already here. We should finish the mission earlier and then return to the God world. Yes. Chapter 1253. A desolate forest lay on the ground. This was where the Quiet Spring was located. Back then, Lin Muyu and the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor joined forces to defeat the guardian of the Quiet Spring, East Unicorn Ghost Emperor. Now several years had passed. Everything had changed except for the deathly aura of the quiet spring. The ground was filled with ghost soldiers wailing miserably. They wailed all day long because they were vengeful spirits that had been forcefully kept in the ghost domain. Their bodies were enduring the torture of the 18 levels of hell every single moment. Even though they had become the Ghost Emperor's subordinates, it was the same. This kind of pain had not decreased by a single day, nor had it disappeared. The area within 10 miles of the quiet spring was guarded by a large number of ghost dragon leaders flying back and forth in the sky. There were even many ghost realm lords guarding the area. Lin Muyu and Qin Yin couldn't fly in directly. They could only fly to the ground and negotiate with the guards. From afar, a pot-bellied official lord walked over with a spear in his hand. He said respectfully, "I'm the official lord of the East Sea under the rule of His Majesty the East Unicorn Ghost Emperor. May I ask what brings the two gods to the Nether Spring?" Lin Muyu said, "This lady beside me is Qin Yin, the goddess of grace. She is in charge of the Order of the Six Realms, so she discovered that the order in the Nether Spring has been completely disrupted. We suspect that something big has happened in the Nether Spring, so we came here without permission. Please allow me and little Yin to enter the Nether Spring to investigate." "You two want to enter the Quiet Spring?" The East Sea Prefecture Lord was slightly startled. "Why can't I?" Lin Muyu was a little puzzled and asked, "Official monarch, could it be that something unusual has happened in the Nether Spring? If there is, I hope you can tell us honestly." "There's nothing unusual, but..." The Lord of the East Sea official hesitated for a moment and said, "I dare not hide this from you, martial god and grace goddess. In the past 2 years the Quiet Spring has indeed been suspicious, and its hostility has increased a lot. The power from the Quiet Spring has also increased by at least 5 times. More importantly, the East Unicorn Ghost Emperor has been cultivating in seclusion in the Quiet Spring for as long as 3 years and has not sent any messages to the outside world. I can only lead my troops to guard this place and dare not to be negligent." "Dong Lin has been in seclusion for 3 years?" Lin Muyu was stunned. "Yes. Ordinary ghostly immortals wouldn't go into seclusion for so long, right?" "No, the ghost god's body is cold in nature, so he must return to the surface every once in a while to absorb yang energy, so I am very worried. I suspect that Your Majesty Ghost Emperor has encountered some trouble cultivating in the Nether Spring, but as a subject, I cannot overstep my authority. I cannot enter the Nether Spring without permission, or it will be an act of betrayal." "So that's how it is." Lin Muyu raised her eyebrows and looked at the Lord of the East Sea official. "Your loyalty is admirable. How about this? Xiao Yin and I will enter the Nether Spring to investigate. This way you don't have to enter personally and you won't be accused of betrayal. When the East Unicorn Ghost Emperor asks, you can just say that Xiao Yin and I forced our way into the Nether Spring." The Lord of the East Sea official couldn't help but laugh. "Although I'm just a lord, I'm not that despicable. We don't know whether the East Unicorn Ghost Emperor is dead or alive, so it's reasonable for the two of you to enter the Nether Spring to investigate. There's no need for you two to force your way in. I'll take you there right now." "Then, thank you very much." Lin Muyu was a little surprised. The East Unicorn Ghost Emperor was a very narrow-minded person, but she didn't expect his subordinates to be so understanding and reasonable. It was simply very surprising. Flying along the withered ground, the Lord of the East Sea official couldn't fly very fast. Lin Muyu and Qin Yin could only fly slowly. The closer they got to the Nether Spring, the denser the Yin Qi became, so much so that Lin Muyu and Qin Yin had to use their divine energy to resist it. Suddenly, the avatars of the martial god and the graceful goddess appeared faintly beside the two. The group of ghost dragon leaders and ghost soldiers were dumbfounded. It was a realm that they yearned for but could never reach. Soon, the huge entrance to the Nether Spring appeared in front of them, but it was guarded by a large number of ghost soldiers. "Disperse, everyone disperse." The Lord of the East Sea official shouted in a low voice. His prestige was quite good, so the group of ghost soldiers dispersed one after another. At the same time they looked at Lin Muyu and Qin Yin in awe. "Supreme Immortals, once you enter the Nether Spring it will be very difficult to come out. Have you made up your mind?" The Lord of the East Sea official asked in a low voice. "Don't worry." Lin Muyu smiled slightly. She had been to the Nether Spring before and naturally knew how powerful it was. But now that she was in martial god, her state of mind had been improved several times. She was confident that she could come out of the nether spring unscathed. In front of them, the nether spring was like a mirror upside down on the ground. There were no ripples on the surface of the water. In fact, there was no water at all. The nether spring was called a spring, but it was actually an illusory world. Let's go. Lin Muyu jumped into the nether spring, and Qin Yin followed without hesitation with the Donghua sword. Swoosh, swoosh. 2 ripples of light spread out on the surface of the nether spring. The Lord of the East Sea official looked at it quietly and said to himself, I hope you can solve the problem in the nether spring. Don't let the Ghost Emperor continue to sink. The light flashed and Lin Muyu and Qin Yin had already fallen into the first layer of the nether spring. Xiao Yin, hold my hand. The 2 held hands and their minds were connected. This way they could maintain the same state of mind in the nether spring. The first layer was the blessed shade world. The flowers and birds were peaceful and the pedestrians were interwoven. There was almost no trace of hostility here. Qin Yin held Lin Muyu's hand and walked on the grass. She took a deep breath and smiled. It's so nice here, Lin Muyu nodded. Only those with pure hearts would be able to feel peace here. Otherwise, what they would feel would be empty violence and lust that had nowhere to vent. Buzz. Ripples surged in front of them. In the blink of an eye, the blessed shade world had disappeared and was replaced by the second layer, the lonely world. The surroundings had turned into a boundless desert. Not only was it empty, but it was also very boring. However, Lin Muyu and Qin Yin were not afraid of this level of loneliness at all. Swoosh, swoosh. A strong wind blew in the desert. It was so strong that they could barely open their eyes. However, Lin Muyu held Qin Yin's hand tightly and activated her sacred martial power to resist the wind. Then she said in a low voice, Xiao Yin, how are you? I'm fine. Qin Yin squinted her beautiful eyes. Her body was surrounded by dense order power. It was naturally not a problem for the 2 righteous gods to resist this level of wind. In the end, the wind that was originally intended to blow the 2 apart failed. The lonely world collapsed on its own. Swoosh. The 2 of them abruptly descended into the world of the 3rd level. This level was a world of slaughter. Even though the 2 of them were holding hands, they could still see a bloody and chaotic battlefield in front of them. The faces of countless enemies appeared before their eyes. The silhouettes of the Ashen Crane, Lin Yu, Qin Yi, the Demon Emperor, Lei Chong and the others appeared one by one. They could even hear Lei Chong's furious roars. Go to hell. The battle axe swept across. Lei Chong's attack was still so forceful and overbearing. However, Lin Muyu was no longer the same as before. She hugged Qin Yin in her arms and shouted, You are not my match when you are alive. Do you think you can defeat me when you are dead? Get lost. Her shout turned into a surge of sacred martial power. Lei Chong's figure instantly disappeared without a trace. Lin Muyu flew forward with Qin Yin. She coldly looked at the enemies that appeared in the bloody battlefield. Lin Muyu, I want you to die. In the sky, a person roared arrogantly. It was Luo Lan, the only god in the mortal world at that time. She was also the culprit who killed Lei Hong. Lin Muyu raised her head and looked at him. Her eyes were calm as she said, You are just a willpower that no longer exists. Why are you still pretending to be mighty here? Luo Lan's figure then disappeared. Lin Muyu continued to fly forward. This was a battle of the state of mind. Obviously, none of these illusions could shake Lin Muyu's will. If she was so easily shaken by these enemies, she would not be a martial god. Soon many people appeared on the ground. Jiao, LV Zhao, Sage Sovereign, Yangshang, Duo La, Qin Yu and the others appeared one by one. They all cursed and roared at the top of their lungs. Lin Muyu, return my life. Lin Muyu, I want you to die. You have no right to kill me. I refuse to accept this. I am the Empress. You are not worthy. Go to hell. Qin Yin, what kind of Empress are you? What kind of ruler are you? You are just a bad woman whose hands are stained with blood. Lin Muyu looked down at them. Qin Yin, who was in her arms, couldn't help but close her eyes. She had killed too many people. She didn't want to see it anymore. Her inner demons were stirring up trouble. Xiaoyin, don't think too much. Everything we do is for the people we cherish. Lin Muyu said gently. Yes. Qin Yin nodded. Lin Muyu raised her left palm and pointed it at the ground. Countless sword chi flew out. She shouted in a low voice, Under the heavenly Tao, you are all ants. What is there to talk about revenge? Die. Boom. The ground sank. The enemies in the chaos disappeared one by one. They successfully passed this level. Light suddenly appeared in front of them. The fourth level, the World of Greed. Lin Muyu had seen the World of Greed before. She immediately said, Xiao, guard your will. This level's test is what you want the most. You must endure it. Xian was a little confused. When she looked down, her delicate body trembled slightly. She was completely stunned. She saw a person. She saw an old figure sitting in the depths of the palace. He was draped in an imperial robe and was reading memorials in flamboyant calligraphy. His expression was as peaceful and benevolent as it was in the past. It was just that he coughed frequently, indicating that he was not in good health. Father. Xian murmured. She unknowingly left Lin Muyu's hand and walked towards the palace in the distance. Xiao, don't go. Lin Muyu shouted loudly. However, Xian couldn't hear her. The heart demon of the World of Greed could only be resolved by herself. The scene suddenly changed to a beautiful spring scene. It was the hunting ground of the royal family. Peach blossoms were in full bloom. Under one of the peach blossoms, an 8-year-old Xian was holding a specially made thin sword. She was waving it with all her strength. Her palm was enshrouded with the faint light of the god-binding chains. On the side, Xian still looked like a middle-aged man. He was wearing battle armor. He smiled and said, yes, that's it. Xiao is really powerful. Cough cough, it's a pity that father's sword skills are clumsy and can't teach you anything. However, father will definitely find you the most powerful teacher. Xiao, who do you want to be your teacher? Xian withdrew her long sword and said in a tender voice, Father, I want big brother Qin to be my teacher. His sword skills are very powerful. Xian couldn't help but laugh. That child Lei is powerful, but his sword skills are not suitable for you. You are a princess, the heir to the empire. It's fine for you to learn sword skills. But if you want to learn sword skills, do you want to be a female general who goes into battle and kills the enemy? Why not? Xian blinked her eyes and looked at her father innocently. Xian smiled. You can. As long as Xiao wants it, father will find it for you. Chapter 1254. The scene changed once more. Xian had grown up and her father had aged. Under the window, Xian was combing his daughter's hair with a doting expression on his face. He said with a smile, Xiao is looking more and more like your mother. Just as beautiful, just as dignified and virtuous. Xian stuck out her tongue and said with a smile, I'm not virtuous. Xian couldn't help but laugh. But you have to learn to be virtuous. Don't spend all your time with Xiaoxi thinking about fishing, hunting, and practicing martial arts. Don't forget that you are the heir to the empire. You are the future ruler of the country, not some wandering hero of the pugilistic world. I know. Father, you're here again. All right. I won't talk about it anymore. Outside the window, Xian looked at her past self and her father, who had passed away a long time ago. Tears flowed from her eyes as she murmured softly, Father, father. Rustle. Lin Mu walked over from behind. He had already entered Xian's illusion. He gently held onto Xian's shoulder and said, Xiao, this is all an illusion. You have to see through it, I know. With how intelligent Xian was, how could she not see through it? She bit her red lips and said softly, I just want to see him again, to see him in the family. Lin Muyu's heart ached. It was more than just heartache. Even he couldn't give Xian all his love. Xian's love for his daughter was unreservedly. It was a love that gave up on himself. There was probably no one else in the world who could love Xian like that. Swoosh. The palaces and pavilions in front of them disappeared one by one. Instead, a spiritual aura soared in the air as if it had penetrated through the depths of hell to reach here. It was a familiar aura. Oh my God! Lin Muyu's body trembled. As a martial god, he could naturally sense this aura. It was Xian. That's right, it was Xian. This aura originated from him. And it was not an illusion. It was the real Xian's aura. What happened? Lin Muyu looked left and right, puzzled. Could it be that Xian hadn't been reincarnated all these years? His soul had always remained in the ghost domain. However, this wisp of aura was extremely chaotic. It shuttled back and forth in the space as if it wanted to condense but was unable to do so. Pa. A strand of sacred martial power condensed in Lin Muyu's palm. He had decided to help Xian condense his body. Sacred martial power slowly seeped in, greatly strengthening Qin Jin's soul power. Soon strands of long white hair and a robe appeared in the air. Qin Jin was not wearing the royal robe that he had worn when he passed away. Instead, he was wearing an azure robe which gave him the air of an immortal. He stood in the wind blankly, looking at everything around him, not knowing what to do. Imperial Father. Is that you? Qin Yin's entire body was trembling, and even her voice was trembling. Lin Muyu said, "It's him, it's Imperial Father, there's no need to suspect." As he spoke, he strengthened his sacred martial power again. For a moment, Qin Jin sighed faintly, and slowly exhaled a mouthful of impure air. Then he looked kindly at Qin Yin and Lin Muyu and said in astonishment, "Xiao Yin? Is it the two of you?" "Me. It's me." Qin Yin rushed forward and hugged her father tightly. She cried, "Imperial Father, I can still see you again. I can still see you again." How could Qin Jin not feel sentimental? Tears streamed down his face as he said, "I Xiao Yin. In this chaotic world I've dreamed of you countless times. Is this real? I felt a power calling out to me. I know that you're here. I've finally seen you." Qin Yin raised her head and with tears in her eyes she said, "Imperial Father, it's me, it's me. Where am I?" Qin Jin asked. Lin Muyu walked forward and knelt on one knee. She said, "The ghost domain's nether spring. The soul energy here is extremely vigorous, and it's precisely because of this that your soul was able to remain here for over a decade without dissipating. It's also because of Xiao Yin's sincere love that you were able to find this greedy world." "So I'm still dead." Qin Jin looked at Qin Yin and couldn't help but smile. He said, "However, I'm already satisfied to be able to see Xiao Yin again. Xiao Yin, you and you have both grown up. Imperial Father has a whole new level of respect for you." Qin Yin smiled tearfully. "Imperial Father, it's been over a decade. How can Xiao Yin still not grow up? How did you survive all these years?" Qin Jin gently stroked his daughter's long hair. He said, "I've always been in a deep sleep. Most of the time I've been dreaming. You and Ale appeared countless times in my dreams. What happened after that?" Qin Yin said, "Let Big Brother Yu tell you." "And you go ahead." Qin Jin looked at Lin Muyu. His eyes were also filled with fatherly love, although not as much as Qin Yin's. Lin Muyu nodded and said, "After Qin Yi murdered you, Imperial Father, he raised an army of 500,000 in Lingnan. He called it the Kingdom of Iha and crossed the Qinling Mountains to attack Songnan Province. Not long after, they surrounded Lanyan City. When Lanyan City fell, in order to protect Xiao Yin, Big Brother Qin Lei and Big Brother Chu Huayin died in battle. After that, Luolan went down the mountain and killed Great Deacon Lei Hong of the Divine Temple. The entire empire fell apart." How could this be? How could this be? Qin Jin blamed himself. "It's all my fault. It's all my fault for being too conceited. I thought I could control everything, but I didn't expect that I would still miscalculate Qin Yi. I didn't expect him to become like this, to become so vicious. What happened after that? What happened after that? Well, it's a long story. To put it simply." Lin Muyu thought for a moment and said, "After that, Tang Lan and Su Muyun sent troops to recover Lanyan City and put Xiao Yin on the throne. After that, the demon race appeared and conquered many territories. In short, we won in the end. The empire unified the eastern and western continents. Xiao Yin became the true ruler of the world, and the empire's name was still the Great Qin." "That's good. That's good." Qin Jin was clearly a little emotional. Even his fists were clenched tightly. He said, "But now? Why did you and Xiao Yin appear in a place where only the dead would come?" Qin Yin couldn't help but laugh. "Imperial Father, Big Brother, you and I are gods now." "Gods? Oh, no wonder you're so powerful. You're even more powerful than those ghost emperors in the lower purgatories." Qin Jin didn't really understand how powerful gods were, but he knew that they must be very powerful. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to come and go as they pleased. "Imperial Father, can Xiao Yin take you out of here?" Qin Yin asked. "No need." Qin Jin shook his head. "I belong here. I can't leave. You should go to where you belong." "But..." Qin Yin bit her red lips. She was still unwilling to give up. She looked at Lin Muyu with pleading eyes. Lin Muyu clenched her fists and said softly, "Xiao Yin really can't take Imperial Father out of here." Big brother you're the martial god. What can't you do? Qin Yin was unwilling to give up. Because this goes against the laws of the 6 realms. Lin Muyu said gently. You're the protector of the order of the 6 realms. You should know better than me that Imperial Father's soul has been in the ghost realm for too long. It's become extremely weak. If it weren't for my holy martial power, Imperial Father wouldn't even be able to say a single word. If we forcefully take Imperial Father's soul and leave this place to seek a way to be reborn on the surface, then it's possible that Imperial Father's last bit of spiritual sense won't be able to withstand the impact and dissipate when we pass through the planes. If that happens, Imperial Father will be completely obliterated. Then what should we do? Qin Yin was flustered. Lin Muyu thought for a moment and said, as righteous gods, we still have to use our power when it's necessary. Let Imperial Father stay here first. There are others who can do what we can't do. I'll ask the Ghost Emperors of the 5 directions to help rebuild Imperial Father's body in the Ghost Realm. We'll make him a true citizen of the Ghost Realm. Even if he's just a ghost servant, at least he'll be able to live in the Ghost Realm for a long time. This way, Xiaoyin, if you want to see Imperial Father, you can come to the Ghost Realm and you'll naturally be able to see him. Really? Qin Yin widened her big bright eyes. Really? When have I ever lied to you? Let me tell you, the Ghost Emperors of the 5 directions are very powerful. At least in the Ghost Realm, there's nothing they can't do. Wow, that's great. Qin Yin was wild with joy. Seeing how happy Qin Yin was, Lin Muyu was naturally happy as well. She respectfully said to Qin Jin, Imperial Father, your power is too weak. I'm afraid you won't be able to leave the Ghost Realm. Then we can only think of a way to keep you in the Ghost Realm. But you won't be bullied by anyone. Don't worry, Xiaoyin and I are very powerful. We're powerful enough to dominate the 6 realms. Qin Jin smiled faintly and said, I believe you. It'll be fine. As long as I don't sink into a deep slumber, it'll be fine. Imperial Father doesn't have any other desires. I'm already satisfied to be able to see you and Xiaoyin again. Lin Muyu nodded and said, then please stay here, Imperial Father. Xiaoyin and I have to go to the lower planes to settle some matters. Then we'll come back to find Imperial Father. All right. Lin Muyu took Qin Yin's hand and left with her. Behind them, Qin Jin's body disappeared and he returned to his incorporeal soul state. At the same time, Lin Muyu sensed a wisp of divine sense probing this place. She couldn't help but smile and said, Ghost Emperor of the 5 directions, is that you? A voice came from the void and said, it's me. I pay my respects to your Highness Martial God. No need to be so polite. Lin Muyu said, you heard what I said to Imperial Father just now, right? Can you do it? Yes, perhaps I can even make him a judge. Don't worry, your Highness Martial God. Then don't stay idle. Come to the 12 worlds of the Nether Springs immediately and take Imperial Father's soul away to reconstruct his body. You want me to barge into that old brat Dong Lin's Nether Springs? Dong Lin has become much stronger recently. He's very arrogant. I don't want to get into trouble. What are you afraid of? Xiaoyin and I will settle the score with him. You can just come to the Nether Springs to receive Imperial Father's soul. Yes, I understand. Chapter 1255. At the bottom of the Netherworld spring in the Nirvana world. The vast land was empty and empty with only a huge spring flowing. This spring was the end of the world. Falling into the spring meant death, eternal death. In other words, this was the real Netherworld spring. In the fog they were getting closer to the Netherworld spring. At the same time the irritating aura was getting stronger. Qin Yin frowned uneasily and said, the aura of the East Unicorn Ghost Emperor seems to be everywhere. What is going on? What is happening in the Netherworld spring? I don't know either. Lin Muyu raised his palm and released a raging flame to blow away the fog. Suddenly the land gradually appeared. It was a swamp with weeds and muddy water everywhere. His heart skipped a beat and he said, be careful, they are coming. Them. In terms of strength, the graceful goddess Qin Yin was slightly inferior. After all, Lin Muyu was a titled martial god, and she was extremely sensitive to the danger of an impending battle. Sure enough, 2 gusts of air rushed over. It was the dimensional wind, a dimensional wind that was as sharp as a blade. Lin Muyu suddenly leaned back and dodged the blade, while Qin Yin also dodged to the side. A low roar came from the fog in the distance like a wild beast. What the hell is that? Lin Muyu felt the strength of the dimensional wind. It was not inferior to the dimensional wind that wind god Feng Jixing had unleashed. It was swift and fierce. He raised his palm and chanted the formless elephant spell. He yelled, "Come out." Boom. The aura from Tian'er crushed the fog. Instantly, two huge figures hidden in the fog flew out. They were monsters that were neither human nor ghost. Their bodies were covered in scales and their eyes were like copper bells. Their feet and hands had sharp claws and their eyes were glowing. They stood on all fours and roared at Lin Muyu and Qin Yin. What are they? Qin Yin was confused. They look like humans and ghosts at the same time, but their strength is not inferior to the righteous gods. Lin Muyu said with a stern gaze, I can feel more than one soul aura in these two monsters. They are not just one person but a fusion. Qin Yin was stunned. At this moment, a shrill, strange laughter came from the clouds. Long time no see. Lin Muyu, you are still so perceptive. You did not disappoint me. You are truly worthy of fighting. The figure slowly walked out of the clouds. It was the legendary East Unicorn Ghost Emperor. However, compared to before, the East Unicorn Ghost Emperor had lost some of the domineering aura of a monarch. Instead, he had more hostility. His face even had the color of decay. Logically speaking, the Ghost Emperor was eternal, so he shouldn't be decaying. Lin Muyu looked at him and said sternly, East Unicorn, what's going on with these two monsters? And what's going on with you? The East Sea official said that you have been in seclusion for many years. Are you cultivating some kind of evil technique? Evil technique. East Unicorn Ghost Emperor couldn't help but laugh. This is the Ghost Realm, martial god. Which martial art in the Ghost Realm is not evil technique. They are all unique techniques that refine souls and take lives. Don't tell me that the Ghost Emperors of 5 Directions and the blood-sobbing Ghost Emperor are cultivating righteous martial arts. Besides, these two are not monsters, they are devourers that this old man has painstakingly cultivated. Devourers? What do you mean? You should understand that there is not only one soul in the body of a devourer, but there are thousands of them. Those ruthless and tyrannical souls have been wandering in the netherworld spring for many years. Wouldn't it be a pity not to make use of them? You are refining souls in the netherworld spring? Lin Muyu was stunned. That's right, just like that. The corner of East Unicorn Ghost Emperor's mouth raised, revealing a trace of a sinister smile. But all this is thanks to you and the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor. If it wasn't for you guys making me suffer such a crushing defeat back then, why would I have made up my mind to cultivate the spirit refinement cannon in the depths of the netherworld spring? Spirit refinement cannon? Look at these two devourers, they are neither human nor ghost. What you cultivated is not a god but a demon, right? Is that so? East Unicorn Ghost Emperor tilted his head to look at his two creations and laughed. Their appearance is bad, but their hearts are still relatively pure. They have refined the souls of countless good and evil people. They are already very complicated, it is up to me as their father to guide them. Lin Muyu raised her eyebrows. You have caused chaos in the depths of the netherworld spring. The disturbance of the laws and order has even attracted the attention of the graceful goddess. I think you probably created these devourers to defeat me, right? What are you waiting for? Now that I am here, use your devourers or even yourself and fight me. What a martial god. East Unicorn Ghost Emperor waved his hand lightly, and instantly a blood-colored blade appeared in his hand. He laughed. If you want to challenge me, then defeat my sons first. These devourers are not as easy to deal with as the demon realm's Mara and demon generals. You have to be careful, I do not want to bear the infamy of killing a martial god. Graceful goddess, please stay far away, don't be affected by the battle, I do not want to hurt you. Qin Yin frowned. Could it be that you really want to hurt Big Brother you that much? Not to hurt but, to avenge. East Unicorn Ghost Emperor chuckled. As long as I can defeat Lin Muyu, I will be the strongest god in the world. It doesn't matter if it is a ghost god, demon god or a righteous god, the people of the 6 realms will look at me in a new light. Lin Muyu couldn't help but laugh and floated down, standing in the air less than 20 centimeters from the ground. She said, Xiao Yin, back off a little, don't get affected. Qin Yin was naturally very confident in Lin Muyu's strength. She stepped into the air and leaped nearly 100 meters away, looking at the domain that was about to become a battlefield. What, you're not going to draw your sword? If I remember correctly, Your sword is the best of the famous swords, the Xianyuan sword. East Unicorn Ghost Emperor smiled faintly. Lin Muyu glanced at the two restless devourers and smiled. These two ugly fellows are not worthy of me using my sword. Besides, it doesn't mean that I'm not powerful even if I don't use my sword. In that case, then I will offend you. East Unicorn Ghost Emperor growled. You two rascals, defeat him for me. As long as you spare his life, the rest is up to you. Fortunately, this East Unicorn Ghost Emperor still had a trace of humanity, and only wanted to avenge the humiliation, but did not want to harm Lin Muyu's life. After all, the Ghost Realm also belonged to the Six Realms, and killing a martial god would not benefit the Ghost Realm at all. Roar roar. The two devourers launched an attack almost at the same time. Their figures flashed and disappeared into the dimension. Their speed was very fast and they appeared on both sides of Lin Muyu like lightning. Two sharp claws with dimensional impact swept over at an extremely fast speed. Lin Muyu was slightly startled by the speed of the devourer. This speed was probably not inferior to Ria's peak speed, right? Fortunately, Lin Muyu had the sacred martial power and the invisible elephant technique. Such a rapid speed was several times slower in his eyes, at least not to the point where he could not deal with it. A light flashed on his fingertips and the proud sword technique was launched. Dang dang, like the sound of metal and stone colliding, the sword chi on Lin Muyu's fingertips blasted on the devourer's sharp claws, but could not directly cut them off, just like weapons colliding with each other. The devourer's physique was really tyrannical, and even this degree of endurance should have reached the level of the 9 underworlds demon king. In an instant, Lin Muyu had to look at Ghost Emperor Dong Lin in a new light. This old guy actually used that whatever spirit refinement cannon to refine such a monster. It was really not simple. In the blink of an eye, the two devourers attacked Lin Muyu over a dozen times at lightning speed. Although they did not deal any damage to her, it was enough to put her in a perilous situation. Lin Muyu's cloak was torn, and if it were not for the protection of her Saint Martial Force, she would have been heavily injured. Dang! It was another fierce attack. The sword chi on Lin Muyu's fingertips bounced off the devourer's sharp claws for the 8th time, but there was a trace of doubt in her heart. These two devourers seemed to never know fatigue. After continuously running and attacking, their speed and strength were getting higher and higher, and they did not even have a trace of fatigue. Such an opponent was really a bit terrifying. In the distance, Ghost Emperor Dong Lin laughed out loud. Lin Muyu, don't try to use stalling tactics to exhaust the devourers. It's useless. They will become braver and stronger as they fight. Just use whatever skills you have. I believe that as a martial god, you are more than capable of this. All right then. Lin Muyu smiled faintly. Her arms were filled with blood-colored lightning, and she suddenly raised the sacred martial power from 40% to 80%. She clenched her left hand into a fist, and the mental cultivation method of the AO sword technique filled the surroundings. She punched the sharp claws of one of the devourers as if she had foresight. Bang! The air suddenly exploded and there was a deafening sound. The devourer was like a cannonball that was punched into the fog by Lin Muyu. There was a rumbling sound in the distance, and it must have smashed the swamp far away into a mess. This time it was Ghost Emperor Dong Lin's turn to be shocked. He knew that the martial god was strong, but he did not know that the martial god was strong to this extent. What kind of monstrous strength was this to send a devourer flying with a punch? Roar! Another devourer rushed over in the air, and it was as swift and violent as an arrow that left the bow. Lin Muyu's body turned slightly, and her right fist was filled with the sacred martial power. She suddenly punched the other devourer, and there were even 2 devourer fangs left in the air. After spinning in the air for a few rounds, they slowly fell into the mud. There was a series of explosions in the distance and it was the sound of the devourers sliding on the ground. The earth shook and the mountains shook. Clenching her fist, Lin Muyu said, "To be honest, I am a little disappointed. Is this all your devourers can do?" The East Unicorn Ghost Emperor's face was ashen as he said indifferently, "Don't be in a hurry to be complacent. It is just 2 devourers. If the number is 4 times more with 8 devourers attacking together, can you still be so calm?" Lin Muyu smiled. "Come on." In the fog there was a roar and black figures appeared in the air. Ghost Emperor Dong Lin was not lying. There were indeed 8 devourers, including the 2 that were sent flying by Lin Muyu's punch. They were only injured but not dead. They were not even injured. Their endurance was really scary.